This is Keep On Cooking, a podcast for people who love cookbooks and want to know more about the authors. It's also a great place to get a weekly dose of culinary inspiration to keep things pumping in the kitchen. So grab a cookbook and keep on cooking. I'm Dustin Harder, and this is Keep On Cooking. Hello, and welcome to Keep On Cooking, the only podcast dedicated to plant-based cookbooks. I'm your host, Dustin Harder, and he lights up my life. It's my husband and podcast partner in crime, old partner, my buddy. It's David Rossetti.
Wow.
Did you have a my buddy?
No, I wanted one.
I had one.
You did?
Yeah, I loved it because, okay.
I'm so jealous.
I had one, but I don't think this is going to sound like maybe we should have kept a better eye on this child. But
God.
I loved him, and then I saw the movie Child's Play.
Yeah, and then Chucky came out and ruined it all.
Totally. I buried him in the backyard.
Oh, 100%.
I was like terrified of him after that. I was like, this doll's going to come to life and kill me.
Well, and that place, that doll used to be like it.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine they were like, that company was like, man, we really nailed it with this. And then all of a sudden Child's Play comes out and they're
I wonder which was first.
I mean,
anyway, research to do.
We got research to do.
Oh my God, I was singing the same thing.
Oh my God,
the same tune.
Tune.
Well, hello and welcome, everyone. We're so excited this week to have another return guest to the Keep On Cooking pod. Always makes me feel so good, so special when someone agrees to come back. They must have got a taste of something they like, honey. Yeah. This time, our guest is going to talk about her new book that's coming out next week. So I'm so thrilled to give you a sneak peek into this fantastic book that's coming out. She's an Instagram queen and queen in general. I just love her. And blogger of Rabbit and Wolves. Lauren Boehme is back.
Yes, she was featured in episode 19 of Keep On Cooking, where she joined Dustin to talk about her amazing book, Southern Vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Well, she's already written another one.
That's right.
She's been busy. This one is called Delicious AF Vegan, 100 Simple Recipes for Wildly Flavorful Plant-Based Comfort Foods.
Yes, and I love a title like that. It tells you exactly what you're getting with that little subtitle in there. So good. Lauren takes us on another wild ride of plant-based comfort foods, and she joins me to talk about what's inspiring her in the kitchen these days. For a quick recap on Lauren, she's a classically trained pastry chef and the creator of the popular Rabbit and Wolves blog.
She's been featured in Veg News, BuzzFeed, Southern Kitchen, and One Green Planet, to name a few, and currently has 375,000 followers on Instagram. You better work.
I love it. A little disclaimer here. So we swear on this episode today, and I put a little explicit label on it. So now you know. If you got this on with the kids in the car, I got a swear word coming up for you. So here we go, because the name of the book is Delicious AF Vegan, which of course means delicious as fuck vegan. So there, we said it, we did it. It's out there in the world. And we say it again in the interview. And then also we talk a lot about Grease too. So if that will trigger you at all. And of course I'm talking about the critically acclaimed smash blockbuster musical, Grease 2, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. And what is it? Maxwell Caulfield.
Yes.
Oh. Anyways, we talk a lot about. I kind of like hijacked the. You'll see. I hijacked the conversation a little to get into Grease too. But listen, Lauren is a powerhouse in the kitchen and a warrior like me. She prides herself on proving that you can make anything vegan. She's here today to talk about her new book, Delicious as Fuck Vegan. Please welcome back to the pod the spunky, fierce, vegan as fuck, Lauren Boehme. She's back again. Please welcome one of my all-time favorite people to follow on Instagram, a return guest to the podcast. It's Lauren Boehme. Thank you for being here, Lauren. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing really well. We're going to dive right in with your icebreaker question. So we're going to do our porn name and our drag names today. So we'll start with our porn star name. It's our middle name plus the street we grew up on. So what's your middle name and the street you grew up on?
Okay, so my porn name would be Kendra Flamingo, which is a pretty good name.
I'm jealous of this name. That is so good. Oh, I love it. Mine is James Barnard.
Okay. I mean, it just sounds corporate, maybe. You're just
yeah, which could work in some circumstances, I suppose,
Sure,
depending on the setup for it. But yours is
doing. Yeah,
exactly. Yours is very good, very good. Kendra Flamingo.
Thank you, Kendra Flamingo.
You're like, I've been waiting to share that with the world my entire life. I've been
waiting.
And there we go.
To tell the whole world.
My gosh. Well, then we're gonna do our drag queen name. So this is the name of your first pet and your mother's maiden name.
Okay, so my drag name would be Muffin Brenner, which is also pretty good.
You are winning across the board on this so far.
Yeah. When I read them and
that's very good. Very good. Mine for a drag queen is Biscuit Little. I mean,
oh, I like it.
It's a cute little name. It's a cutesy little name.
I like it. We're both food names.
Yeah. I used to think that it was your first pet's name and the street that your first street name. So which is different than the street I grew up on. So I'm gonna share this because I thought this was always the porn name. First pet's name and then street, like your first street. I didn't grow up on Barnard, but my first street that I lived on was Daisy Lane. So it would have been Biscuit Daisy Lane, which I like. So of course I'm passing that in there.
Yeah.
But now is the street, what's Flamingo, the street?
Flamingo is the street like I lived on the longest when I was a kid. So that was not like the street we lived on when I was born, but Flamingo's Road is where I lived like for most of my childhood. So
yes, that's what Barnard was for me. What is the first street that you when you were born? What do you know? What street you were?
That's a great question.
I think the only reason I remember mine is because it was Daisy Lane, and I've paired this up before, and I'm like,
I'm sure that it's in my brain somewhere, but and if I ask my brother, he'll know. But
that's all right. You did the assignment. We'll just have to have you back on for a third time, and that'll be the next icebreaker question. Okay. Yeah, for the next book. Well, it's great to have you back on Keep on Cooking. Of course, everyone knows you as the creator of the fabulous blog Rabbit and Wolves. And when you were here last, we were chatting about your first book, Southern Vegan. Everyone, you can go listen to episode 19 to learn more about that book and also learn more about Lauren as we do a little more digging in that episode to get into your backstory so people can learn more about you there. So check that out, everyone. It's episode 19. And we got to, because we did that, we get to dive right into this book today. So it's your brand new book. Now, the cover says Delicious AF Vegan, but I put an explicit label on this episode and we're going to call it like it is. It's delicious as fuck vegan 100 simple recipes for wildly flavorful plant-based comfort foods, available for pre-order now, everyone, so you can get that. It's going to be coming out next week on September 26th. So listen, Lauren, beautiful, this book, just like the last one and everything that you do. Can you give us a little summary of what people can expect from Delicious as Fuck Vegan 100 simple recipes for wildly flavorful plant-based comfort foods?
Yeah. So, the first one, they were like, well, I tend to have way too many ideas, which isn't necessarily a terrible problem unless you have insomnia like I do. But I think that like the first one, they were like narrow it down, pick a theme. And this one, they were like, do whatever you want. And I was like, yay.
Great.
So it's like just comfort food that out of my head, I was trying to do as normal things that I've never seen before, or things that, are not consistently repeated over and over again. I feel like a lot of people tell me they get bored with food. And I even feel like when I go to a lot of vegan restaurants, they'll have the same things. Like they all have cauliflower wings and they all have, like the standard. And you're like, do something different for God's sakes.
Yeah.
So I tried really hard to just come up with new concepts that are comforting, vegan, of course, and it's my favorite thing to do, to like figure out how to make anything vegan. It's just my absolute like favorite thing to do. So
yeah, I love that.
And then this one's bigger. My last book was 60 recipes. This one's 100. So, which is exciting. I asked if I could do a bigger book and do whatever I wanted, and they said yes. So this is me. I did whatever I wanted, and they're all really, really good.
Good. They look good. They look, when you're talking about how, you go to a restaurant and everyone's got the cauliflower wing, you are so correct in that. And that's what I love. You take things, I'll see it and I'll be like, how did she even think of that? Like, you just come up with combinations for things that are just so inventive and also look so good. You did the photos for this book too. Is that correct?
So my best friend, Julie, who was working for me for years, she did some of the photography too. She actually did the cover photo.
Right. Nice. And then
she probably did half and half. So a lot of the photos in the book I did, a lot of them Julie did. She was just here with me and helped me do all that. It's a lot. It's overwhelming.
It's a lot. It is so overwhelming. It's so funny because my bestie did photographs for my last 2 books, and it's not in her. She does oil-free, gluten-free stuff, and all my stuff for, especially for the second one, it's so much oil and all this stuff in it.
I know. Everyone's
like, she was just attacking it all by herself. Well, she had help, like she was in Canada at the time, but I was like, man, if I could just be there with you, like we could just be like tackling this together. So it sounds like you and Julie had that opportunity.
So she actually came and stayed in Las Vegas for like 3 or 4 months with me and just knocked all these photos out with me. And it was, honestly, it was the most fun I've had too. The cover photo shoot day, obviously I made like a million different things to like try different things out. There's a bunch of stuff on the cover, but we had so much fun just like figuring out where to put things and like that.
Oh, so great to work with your friend. Well, let's talk about the cover. So everybody who's watching this, you can see this gorgeous cover that I'm holding up from Delicious as Fuck Vegan. Tell me what's on the cover here, Lauren. What are we looking at here? What dishes are on here?
Okay, so the soup is the Spicy Lasagna Soup, which like my white lasagna soup that's from like years and years ago was one of the things that like has been the most popular on the blog. But I made a spicy version. Cheesesteak burritos. This is a salted caramel creme brulee white hot chocolate.
Oh my gosh, it looks so good. What's on top of that white hot chocolate?
Cookie pie. That is, you make caramelized sugar that you then crack and it goes on top, and that's the creme brulee part.
Beautiful. So, now I cut you off of the pie. What kind of pie is that?
Oh no, that is a pumpkin chocolate chip cookie pie.
Delicious. Okay.
So it's like cookie dough in a pie crust, which is amazing. Those are the carne asada loaded fries, I think.
Yes.
Probably no. And then the pasta is a 1-pot like beef and shells.
It almost looks like a like a hamburger helper situation. Which
that's what I was going for. It was like a easy hamburger helper, and it's a 1-pot. I have the 1-pot section.
Yes, you do.
Al pastor loaded fries. There's pineapple on it.
Oh, yum. Delicious. You like pineapple on your pizza?
I love pineapple on my pizza.
Yeah.
And I know that is very controversial.
But,
my daughter thinks that that's gross, but she's 11, so
she'll grow into it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. We're gonna give it some time. Time.
I think so.
Oh, well, let's dive in here. Chapter 1 is Indulgent Mornings, featuring inventive and mouthwatering options like, everybody listen up here. Come on now. Chai latte crepes, autumn pear-baked French toast, churro bagels with sweet vanilla cream cheese, chicken and red velvet waffles, ranchero breakfast taquitos, black forest cinnamon rolls, and moist and buttery orange poppy seed bread. Everyone should know that Lauren is a classically trained pastry chef, which you can learn more about in episode 19, where we get into the backstory for Lauren there. But there are these, I don't know how to pronounce this, and to me this seems like a pastry chef sort of item, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. You can tell me.
I don't know.
The Liege waffles?
Liege waffles, yeah. So they're...
Tell me, Liege waffles and berry compote. Tell us more about that.
If you've never had a Liege waffle, you should have a Liege waffle.
Liege. Got
yes, Liege waffles. So they're Belgian, and you use these the specific thing about one, they're yeast waffles, which is interesting in and of itself. But then there's big crystals of sugar in it. So you get and I have beet sugar. I have some in the pantry, but
you get like a yummy bite.
Yeah. So once you waffle iron them, the sugar is like these caramelized pockets of sugar, and it's the greatest thing ever. That might be my favorite breakfast in here.
Oh, and is that what Liege refers to then? The sugar or
the sugar? I think so. Yeah. So
okay.
I
got it. Listen, pantry's full of stuff. It's like we could grab stuff and have a show and tell. I love that though. And what about the blueberry pancake Pop-Tarts?
Pop-Tarts. Oh my God. I love making Pop-Tarts. I've been teaching kids cooking classes at the vegan culinary school in Vegas. And I taught them how to make Pop-Tarts the other day, and they loved it.
I was gonna say they probably lost their minds.
Oh my God, they were so excited. They did not want to wait. I brought them out of the oven, and they were so hot. And I was like, guys, don't burn yourselves. I'm not great with children, to be perfectly honest. And I just was like, no, calm down. I always bring my daughter with me so she can wrangle them in for me, because
diffuse a little. Yeah,
I don't know how to deal with children, but it's still fun. So I made the blueberry Pop-Tarts. I made a blueberry filling, obviously, and then the regular pie crust, but the topping is maple syrup flavored icing. So
that's okay.
And they taste like a blueberry pancake. But
I see where we're getting it then. It's so funny you say that about kids. I was teaching a series of vegan classes at the Chopping Block in Chicago, and it was this summer, and they were doing a kids workshop in the kitchen I was teaching in every morning before I taught my class. So I would go into prep, and it was just overrun. One day it was younger kids, under 10. And then I was like, okay, I got this. There's cool kids everywhere. I got it. And the next day it was teenagers. And I was like, I'm scared.
I'm so afraid of teenagers. Oh my God. I think my classes are capped at 12 years old. So that I can handle. But teenagers, if I see a group of teenagers, I'm like,
yeah. I was so nervous.
Yeah.
Yep. And I saw little groups, there was one group of girls, another group of girls. I was like, I'm scared. I'm I'm triggered. There's all this strange energy around me right now. But I made it through. I survived. It wasn't my class. So I was like, they're gonna leave soon, Dustin, and then you're gonna have adults come and everything's gonna be fine. Well, I love those start to our mornings there with those indulgent mornings. Chapter 2 takes us to exceptionally cozy main meals. Now, this is the type of chapter I got to tell you that I'm jonesing for when I pick up a book by you. It's so reflective of your sort of welcoming and comforting approach to food in your blog. So what is your favorite cozy main meal in this chapter?
Let me look at that's so hard. I'm going to look at
I know. Please pick a baby and make it your favorite.
I know when people are like, what's your favorite recipe on your blog? I'm like, there's 500 recipes on my blog.
Yeah, you're like, just name one and you're good,
I think that the scratch-made biscuit and broccoli cheddar cobbler is probably my favorite.
That was what I was going to ask you about. Anything
that has a carb on top that I can eat with my soup or whatever is my favorite thing ever. So it's like a broccoli cheddar soup, but I thickened it up a little bit more so it wasn't quite so soupy. And then there's biscuits on top of it, and then you eat it all together, and it's the greatest thing.
I'm not joking. In my notes I have written, I'm like, if she doesn't say scratch made biscuit and broccoli cheddar cobbler, ask her about it. It sounds so good. But what about your favorite pizza? What makes it Lauren's favorite pizza?
So I like salty sweet pizza, which I guess is probably obvious with my love of pineapple.
Our given pineapple conversation there.
Yes. Like salty sweet. I like sweet and spicy as well. So I made candied jalapenos to put on top, and then it's barbecue chicken. And I think all of those it's salty chicken, quote unquote, making air quotes for people who can't see.
Yes.
And then so salty, and then a little bit of sweet from barbecue sauce, and then spicy and sweet jalapenos.
Oh,
and then like a creamy cheese, and there was barbecue sauce on. But anyways, it's just really good. I think that any pizza that is those combinations of flavors are what get me. Especially like the spicy sweet is my favorite.
Spicy sweet is so good. And when you've got the perfect amount of spice on there, like not too spicy, but it's just accentuating the sweet, like just enough. It's such a home run. It's so good. I love making pizza at home. It's like my favorite thing to do.
Well, that's another thing is my daughter and I'll make like a big batch of pizza dough and then we separate it into like 3. And like my boyfriend, my daughter, and I will all make our own personal pizza.
Perfect.
And then they eat meat and dairy. So
they're making their own. Yeah.
They want. Yeah.
You're kidding me with all the food that you make. I just can't believe anyone's still eating meat and dairy around you because you make such delicious things.
I will say that neither of them really eat meat or dairy at home.
Sure.
It's usually if we go out to dinner, like they'll have something else. Like my kid likes, mac and cheese and crap like that. Like normal kids, but she'll eat a vegan mac and cheese all day long. I made her a vegan mac and cheese the other day and put some of that hooray bacon on top of it, and she loved it. So
it's my husband probably wasn't vegan for about the first 6 years we were dating, and but it was like that. It got less and less, and then he was just sort of eating it every now and then when we went out. But at home, he never was eating non-vegan stuff.
Yeah, I don't think my boyfriend just eats whatever I make, and then he takes all my leftovers that I make. He takes them to work. He took some today. So
nice, which is so great to have somebody to do that when you do what you do.
I know. Every time he opens the fridge, he's like, "Wow, there's a lot of leftovers," and I'm like, "Yes, take them to work.
Take them, please."
I made like a giant cake for my daughter's birthday. Sorry. And then I made it was like you can't really see it. It was like 4 huge like layers. It was really tall because I just like to be as obnoxious about things as possible like that. So I was like, take some to work. There's a giant cake in my fridge.
Oh my gosh. Oh, a cake by you. I just can't even. What a lucky birthday.
It was good.
We've got a community fridge. We've got different ones here in Atlanta that like sometimes I can take food to, but you've got to label it with the ingredients for obvious reasons, and everything. It's like sometimes I just don't have time to like get it myself together to label everything. But it's so great when you've got someone who will take the food out there and spread the good word too. Plus, they're having your vegan food, so they're going to eat it and be like, "This is delicious," which is great. It's what we want. Chapter 3 takes us into scrumptious one-pot weeknight dinners. I love a good one-pot meal. So, what's your go-to for your home? For an easy one-pot meal that made it into this chapter, you cook all the time. So like, is there something that made it into this chapter where you're like, I just want to make that one pot tonight?
Yeah. So I actually do a lot of one pots just because I'm like fucking exhausted at the end of the day. And I do a lot of my like recipe testing in the morning while my kid's at school. And then by the evening, I'm like, I want to cook anymore. So there's a lot of sheet pan meals that happen where it's like tofu and vegetables. And then a lot of one. That's like my daughter's favorite food, like meal is like tofu on one side of the pan and like vegetables on the other.
So good and so easy.
Yeah. I would say that I probably do make, I make chili a lot. So there's that beer braised black bean chili. I make chili a lot because we all like chili. Oh yeah. Probably some of the soup, the ramen and the lemongrass noodle soup. And the udon. My daughter's obsessed with all Asian inspired noodle dishes.
Yeah.
I make a lot of ramen for her and for myself.
Very good.
Like
that's a step above that top ramen for sure.
Yes. She'll eat that too. But
I mean,
I like to make, it's cheap. It's easy.
Yeah. Like vary it up.
Your ramen.
Yes. I do love a good one pot though, and some other options everyone listening you might want to consider to fulfill your one pot fantasy. Things like the loaded baked potato soup, crispy shallot and garlic chili oil. That's the udon noodles you were talking about. Cheesy, they sound delicious. The cheesy spinach and artichoke dip pasta bake, creamy Toscana rigatoni, this mouth-watering red curry ramen. You were talking about the ramen, spicy lasagna soup, and then of course we already mentioned it, that beer braised chili coming in for the win there. And chapter 4 takes us to satisfying pasta bowls, the pasta of it all. Lauren, we love pasta in our home. Who doesn't? And I love every time a pasta pops up on your Instagram. It always looks so creamy and hearty and delicious. And for listeners,
like my favorite thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's just so good. And for everyone listening, when they get this book in their hands, because they're all going to pre-order it after this, what is the first pasta dish you would tell them to make from this chapter?
Oh my gosh, they're all really good. I think my favorite thing, which is hard. Oh wow, I don't know. That's hard. Okay, yes. Okay, well, there's a one pot broccoli mac and cheese, which is, I know, not in the one pot chapter, but it's incredible and super easy.
I saw that and it looked so incredibly easy,
so
everyone.
So easy and super good. I would say that probably the thing that I crave the most is the chicken parmesan lasagna roll-ups.
Oh, great.
Because they're just really good. That's it. They're just really good.
I love it. They sound good.
When you like bite into something and you're like, oh my God, I'm so smart. That's how
I do know that feeling. Thankfully, I can say that. Thankfully.
When you create something, you're like, oh my God, I'm a genius.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. What about those spicy Greek meatballs and spaghetti? Can you tell me about the Greek meatballs?
Well, so I did more, Greek flavors. There's olives and things of that nature instead of like more of an Italian flavoring, if that makes sense. I mean,
yep,
it probably does. But there's I actually was in Greece last year, and I had like a lot of different, I don't know, I guess I was kind of inspired by that. I was still kind of working on the book when I was in Greece too, actually, and that was one that kind of got added afterwards. So
perfect. So inspired by travel, we love that too. You just said Grease 2, meaning you were in Greece as well, but I was thinking Grease 2, the movie, because I'm a big fan of Grease 2.
Favorite movie. That was my favorite movie when I was a kid. Not Grease 1, Grease 2.
No, Grease 2.
Yes, Grease 2. And I used to do the Michelle Pfeiffer thing on the ladder where she sings. That was like my favorite part. And I wanted to be Michelle Pfeiffer so bad. And I also would tell people my name was Michelle when I was a child. And my parents would be like, no, it's not.
We're now officially best friends.
Everyone's like, you like Grease 2, not Grease? I'm like, yes, Grease.
Oh, yeah. Grease, superior in so many ways. It's fine.
It's fine. I've seen it a million times too. Grease 2. I would rent it every weekend. My mom would take me to the video store and she'd be like, why don't you get something new? And I would be like, no.
Why? What would be the point of that? Let me tell you. Yeah. Do you remember I recorded Grease 2 from the video store over to a home video cassette so I could watch it at home. And I think the summer between my 5th and 6th grade year, I watched it like every single day.
Yeah.
It was intense.
We would have to return the video, of course, a few days later. And then the next weekend I would just get it again. Yeah. And I don't know why my mom didn't just buy it for me. Seems like it would have saved some money, but
well, and I feel like there might, VHS tapes took up a lot of space. So I feel like maybe in stores there wasn't even room on the shelf to have Grease 2 present.
Maybe it
but
wasn't. Man,
I also went, I love that you said I was in Grease 2. This is where I went with this. That tells you how big of a fan. We went to like a Grease 2 viewing party at a local cinema like 6 months ago. And now I'm just wishing that you were sitting with me. But like literally you were encouraged to like sing along and talk along with it. And literally I was talking along with it so much that someone goes, you really know this movie really well. And I was like, isn't that the point? Isn't that what we're doing?
Yeah, I know all of the words to all of the songs. And I definitely think I know probably all of the dialogue as well.
Yes. So. Question for you.
Yes.
And then I'll get off my Grease 2 tangent, I swear. When Stephanie Zanoni walks into the school after they do Back to School, and she's walking down the hallway, and then let's just character cast this person. It's a person playing a nerd. They walk by her and they go, it's a voiceover, but they say, pants. And then she changes into a skirt. Do you recall that voiceover and someone saying, pants?
Yes, I do remember that.
Thank you. My husband and I literally say it all the time now. If somebody references pants at all, we go, pants.
I do remember that because I specifically remember being like, oh, you weren't supposed to wear pants back then. But my mom was born in 1950 and she actually wasn't supposed to wear pants to school. She had to wear.
I didn't even know that was the. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Now that makes tons of sense to me.
Yeah.
I was
They were
so,
not-
and now it actually makes sense on why it was the quote unquote unpopular person
Right.
saying it, you know,
Yeah.
the more perhaps buttoned up person who would have been
Right.
saying it because they were like,
He was
okay.
like, that's breaking the rules. Yeah. So
Wow.
I believe my mom said that like maybe like right after she graduated high school, you were allowed to wear pants, or maybe when she was in high school, they transitioned, but she would have been in high school in the 60s, like the mid to late 60s. And she wasn't, she was, grew up in Wilmington, Delaware, and they were not allowed to wear pants at her high school.
I can't believe that all this time I didn't put that together. That makes so much sense. Well, look at that. I contemplated. I was like, don't tell Lauren about the pants comment. No, I'm so glad I did. You've enlightened me.
That's wonderful.
Probably a movie I've seen, I mean, at least 100 times, like easily, I want to say.
Yeah.
Let's say 50. I don't know. Like 100's a lot, but I've seen it a lot. Anyway.
Yes, I would say I've seen it between 50 and 100 times.
And yes, we have. All right. Yeah. Well, then we know what sort of viewing party we're going to have when we get together to eat our lasagna rolls. It's going to be great. All right, everybody. I'll take you back to the book. I promise. Thank you for indulging me, Lauren. We're on chapter 5, feast-worthy fare, drool-worthy items in here, like, and we're putting the air quotes in again, honey glazed autumn tofu, smoky bacon mac and greens, crispy herbs, sweet potato stacks, cheesy caramelized onion potato au gratin, garlic alfredo spaghetti squash. It looks so good. And garlicky harissa roasted carrots. What is a recipe for you when you think of delicious as fuck vegan and comfort food that you knew just had to be in this chapter?
Okay, well, if you ask my boyfriend, he would say that the cheesy caramelized onion potato au gratin is like one of the best things he's ever eaten. But I think so Marcus Samuelsson is like one of my favorite chefs, and he has a restaurant in Harlem called Red Rooster.
Okay.
And I lived in New York City for some time, and he actually has probably from context you can tell it's not a super vegan friendly restaurant, but I love him so much, and he does actually have some of the best vegan food I've ever had. It's just, they're options, but they're amazing. Yeah. And he had like this whole roasted cauliflower, which I know has been done, but it was one of the best things I've ever eaten.
Sure.
Anyways, he has a recipe, or not a recipe. There's a dish on that menu at Red Rooster that is mac and greens. And so it's like collard greens, because he does a lot of like Southern inspired stuff too. But anyways, so the smoky bacon mac and greens is inspired by Marcus Samuelsson, and I kind of did a play on like what he was doing, and it's so good. And I just feel like that is super cozy. And also like the whole chapter is supposed to be like, for holiday things that you could serve at a holiday. And my publisher was kind of going back and forth with me and wanted me to not have like a whole chapter that was like specific to a season, but I kind of like just pushed back a little bit and was like, this is something I would like. And also people ask for a lot of holiday dishes a lot.
Sure.
And so all of those I think were important, that I don't know, to see that you can still like have a totally normal holiday that's delicious and wonderful, and people would enjoy it still. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I love just the idea of giving people just, ideas for the holidays too, something to bring to the table. And when it's vegan and they can impress people with it, we all know that's, has a great impact right there as well. When were you in New York?
So I lived in New York in 2014. Okay. It's almost 10 years ago, and 2015.
Okay.
So yeah, it's been a while. My daughter was real little. I lived in Brooklyn for a little while.
All right. I was there at that same time. I was in Queens
really?
at the time though. Yeah, I mean, we're just connected in ways I didn't even know. Yeah, this friendship is blossoming over this recording here.
I love New York. It just got to be a little much for me, which you might understand.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Especially having a really young child.
Cannot imagine having a little one.
It was really hard for me just like grocery shopping was like such a chore. So it just, as much as I loved it there, I just decided that it wasn't the place I could settle for much longer. But I still love it there. Obviously, the food there is amazing.
Yeah, of course. Well, chapter 6 is playful party foods. I love a surefire dish that you can take to a party to impress. And when you look at this chapter, is there something, when we're looking at maybe we want to impress the non-vegan variety, what is something, I mean, everything you do is impressive, but if you had to pick one from here to impress the non-vegans at the party, something that would blow them over, make them lose their minds, what recipe comes to mind from the playful party foods chapter?
The French onion potato skins are really, really good.
And everyone loves potatoes.
Everyone loves potatoes. Like, you can't not love a potato.
No, it's a win.
So same with like the taco fries and cheesy chorizo dip. That is probably one of my favorite things. I do have a soft spot. So I named the Everything Bagel pretzel bites after my daughter, Lenore. That's why they're called Lenore's, because she loves a pretzel and everything bagel and a pretzel. So
and you're making these out of store-bought pizza dough, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about the procedure of that a little more. How do we go from store-bought pizza dough into a everything bagel?
So I just decided, like, because I don't know, I think with the party foods, I wanted to make them kind of simplistic too. Like, if you're entertaining, people are coming over to watch a sport, which I don't do, but if some people watch sports, so it seems like a lot.
So if you're having people over to watch Grease 2 is what you mean.
Over to watch Grease 2, these are good for that too. Exactly. That's more likely what I would be doing.
Yes, same.
I decided instead of making your own, dough for this, which is also intimidating to some people, and I get it. I love making yeast bread, but like I also went to culinary school, so
sure.
I understand that like maybe that's not everyone's bag.
Right.
Because like even in culinary school, it's a little intimidating to me.
Yeah.
So just grabbing like pizza dough, like Trader Joe's has really great pizza dough. A lot of places do it, and 99.9% of them, I'm going to say, are already vegan, and I think maybe people don't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
So grabbing some dough, and then what makes it a pretzel is the baking soda bath. So you're just like really easily chopping these into bites, putting them in a 30-second bath, and then baking them, and that's it. And obviously topping them with some everything bagel spice, but they're really, really good. And I don't know, they only take a few minutes to make. So.
Yeah, I mean, that approach to it sounds so simplistic when I think of like all the different times I've made bagels and the process I go through to make them, and bagel bites or pretzel bites or anything like that. So I love this. And then you're pairing it with some chive cream cheese dip, which I think everybody can get into that. I mean, come on now. Also, not to be missed in this chapter, everyone, we've got great recipes like supreme pizza rolls that include a soy curl pepperoni. I'm all about that. You say something so funny in here that when you were a kid, you ate so much pizza that your blood type could only be described as type P for pizza. Samesies.
I will say that I tried, I just naturally, my writing, I think, like leans toward trying to be humorous. And there was there were so many things that my publisher was like, I don't get it. And I'm like, oh, I thought it was so funny. And they're like, please change this. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, oh, I was really proud of that one. Okay.
I've had that too. And you're like, what do you mean you don't get it? Like, that's
I'm like, it's hilarious.
I am hysterical.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm going into stand-up after this. Come on. Oh. Well, that one clearly they got, so it stayed in, and I'm glad.
Some of them stayed in.
We've got the French onion potato skins you mentioned, the pastor loaded fries, and of course the taco fries with cheesy chorizo dip you mentioned too. So lots of good stuff in this chapter to get the party started. And chapter 7 is hearty veggie centric dishes. Do you have a favorite vegetable to cook with that landed in a recipe in this chapter?
I honestly think Brussels sprouts are probably my favorite vegetable. And there's the crispy orange sesame Brussels sprouts and rice, which is really good. So, I kind of like made it like an orange chicken, like takeout dish, but it's Brussels sprouts, but it works and it's so good.
Yeah. Sounds delicious to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and y'all don't snooze on that. We got a hearty green goddess roasted veggie and orzo bowls in here.
Oh yeah,
Coconut
that's good.
curry, cauliflower with coconut rice. Also got the sweet potato gnocchi with sage butter. I love, love, love. Just so many great things in this chapter and hearty veggie-centric dishes. And now, though, comes my favorite part. And this is chapter 8. Let them eat cake. Let them eat cake in bed. This chapter is bursting with pies, cakes, bars, milkshakes, shortcakes, cobblers, you name it. You've got your version of a Twix bar in here, even called the
Yeah.
Betwixt bars. Obsessed with this already, from shortbread crust, caramel layer, and the chocolate layer. Now, sweet treats. What's the one you were most excited to put into this book and share in this book?
As you probably know, I'm a dessert person, and that's like it's my favorite thing to do, bake.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. The banana bread cobbler is so good. I love like a messy dessert that you can just like, it's warm and you like dig into it.
But I'm going to stop you before you name any other ones here, because I want to say to everyone, this is the exact kind of stuff I'm talking about with you. Like, it's a banana bread cobbler, everyone. Like, I mean, you took banana bread and you said, yeah, what about a cobbler? Like, there's always this great stuff coming from you, and it's always so exciting.
Well, because I love banana bread, but like that's been done a million times.
You love cobbler.
So
yeah.
I love cobbler. I put some stuff on top. It's like gooey and delicious, and you can put ice cream on top of it. It's just so good. So the first one's like my version of a Snickers pie too. I just didn't know if I should name it Snickers pie.
Sure.
I didn't know how they'd feel about that, but that's really good. And then, well, I don't know. These are all pretty good. Oh, the carrot cake sticky toffee pudding is really good too. I decided there that I'd like, those are two of my favorite things, carrot coffee pudding. So I put those together, and that's really, really good too.
Yes, I am here for carrot cake sticky toffee pudding. Sounds delicious.
It's so good. Yeah. My brother has celiacs, so I decided to do a flourless chocolate cake too for him. So, because I don't
have a kind sibling
things in there, but like yeah, and the chilaquiles in the first chapter are named after him too. That's my brother Ethan.
Oh,
and
I love it.
So that's like his favorite thing in the world is chilaquiles.
Oh, that's so good. Tie the family in there a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you've got that. It's a flourless chocolate hazelnut cake, everybody.
Yeah, it's
and then
really
also
good.
I have no doubt in my mind, but it's so funny. I didn't even think, when I saw flourless, I didn't think, oh, she usually doesn't do like GF. I just thought, oh, look at her going without the flour now too. This is amazing. So we got the flourless chocolate hazelnut cake, the carrot cake sticky toffee pudding that was mentioned, banana bread cobbler, everybody, and then even funfetti cake, ice cream, mixed berry lemonade, pie bars, and strawberry basil shortcake. And so this gooey chocolate chip cookie pie, is that the Snickers pie, or is that a whole other pie altogether?
No, that's a whole different thing. So the first one that's named after my best friend Julie's caramel nougat and peanut pie. Snickers are her favorite thing ever, but she also she's also been vegan for a while, so that pie is inspired by her. But there's like a layer of peanuts and then caramel and nougat and chocolate and more peanuts, so it tastes like a Snickers and it's delicious. And the guava cream cheese cupcakes, I grew up in Miami, so that's kind of a Miami nod. little nod
to Miami.
I don't know, these are all really good. So the gooey pumpkin chocolate chip cookie pie is like cookie dough baked in the pie crust, and so you get the best of both worlds, and it's really good.
Oh my gosh. Outstanding. All of it. Well, listen, there's something in here to satisfy everyone's sweet tooth. That's for sure. And everybody, that is Delicious as Fuck Vegan, 100 simple recipes for wildly flavorful plant-based comfort foods. Now, Lauren, this is your book brag moment. What's something you're most proud of when it comes to this book?
I think I would say that I kind of stuck to my guns here. And I think a lot of these things, a lot of the recipes were actually questioned by my publisher.
Mhm.
A lot of them, they didn't maybe understand, or were like, I don't think that sounds right here or whatever. And I was like, no. So I would say that I'm proud that I like, normally, I don't want to say I'm a pushover, but I'm a really nice person and I'm a people pleaser for sure. And so I'm usually like, oh yeah, okay. But this time I was like, no, I asked you if I could do whatever I wanted. You said yes. And this is delicious and I want it in here. So I'm proud that it's just like what I wanted it to be, I think.
I love that so much. I think a lot of people, and I've talked about this, I've talked about it a couple times on here, but people I think don't understand sometimes that like the dance that you have with a publisher is it can be can be breezy, or it can be the biggest like heartbreaking pain in the world, or super stressful. Like it just depends on who your editor is and
Right.
who the publisher is and the contract and all the things like that. But there's things sometimes where with me, I always end up sort of just saying, okay, pick and choose my battles, which is more important
Sure.
here. And then I kind of like, as things come in, and I have to remind myself of that in the process. So to hear that you sort of stood up for what you were like, no, this is what we planned on. Like, this was the agreement. Like, I just love that for you. So I think that's a great book bag. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Like with the first one, I think, I just was like, okay, they would be like, that doesn't sound right or whatever. And I was like, okay. But this time I was like, no.
Yeah.
If you don't understand it, I don't know what to tell you. But
and sometimes you get, when you have the one editor, they're questioning something that maybe doesn't make sense to them, but actually does make sense to like everyone. And you have to remind yourself like, oh, this was one person who just read it. Like,
and that's how
send
I
it
kind
off
of
to someone and say, yeah,
that's kind of how I felt. And I would, I would like, comment back or whatever and be like, I think that this makes sense, or, whatever. And then most, pretty much all the time she'd be like, okay. So
Yep, totally. Well, I love it. Well, are you ready for your rapid fire round of questions?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Number one. I think I know the answer to this, but pancakes or waffles?
Waffles.
Yeah, I got it right. Favorite pasta shape?
Oh, geez. Oh my gosh. I know these are supposed to be rapid fire. I really like pasta. Can I say ravioli? Because I like things.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
I like
take it.
ravioli. I like things stuffed inside of pasta. Okay.
Yeah. Favorite animal you see roaming about in Vegas?
Hummingbirds. They're not really roaming, but hummingbirds are like
Ooh.
my favorite fucking thing ever. I'm like literally gasp every time I see one, and there's a million in our neighborhood. So you can imagine
Love
that
that.
I'm gasping a lot. Yeah.
She's okay, everyone. She's just seen a hummingbird.
Every time.
She's gonna be fine. Do you collect anything? Rescue animals excluded.
So I have a lot of like, I guess I'm kind of sitting, but you can't see it. My living room is covered with kind of like witchy things.
Cool.
I have a lot of like specimens and jars of things.
Awesome.
So yeah, there's a lot of skulls, and they're not real. If that makes it
like, just to clarify for everyone.
Yeah, I have a lot of books.
Yep. So we're in your favorite season then, it sounds like. We're entering Halloween
God,
time. Yeah, me too.
Halloween's my favorite thing. Yeah.
I'm here for it. Well, then in that case, I'll ask you, what's your favorite horror movie?
Oh God. Well, I mostly just watch horror movies.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'll watch some other things, but I'm a mostly horror movie kind of girl. What is my favorite horror movie? I like horror comedies, so like Tucker and Dale versus Evil is one of my favorite.
Okay,
movies.
I haven't seen it. I need to see it.
I like comedy mixed with gore. Oh my gosh.
Are you a fan of the Scream movies?
I am. So I actually, my 11th birthday, my parents didn't know what it was, and that is what we rented, and I had girls come over and watch because it had just come out. In 96 is when I turned 11.
Oh
and
my gosh.
My mom rented it for me. She didn't ask any questions. And the girls at my sleepover were very mad at me. And I loved it. I loved it. And everyone else was like, why'd you make us watch that?
Oh my gosh. How do you feel? Have you seen the most recent Screams?
I haven't. So I watched the one before, like the fifth one, I think the sixth one, which I enjoyed. But then like This new one didn't have like any of the original cast, and I just was like, eh. But...
We still have Courtney Cox.
Oh, right.
Showing
Courtney
up.
Cox. I do love Courtney Cox, but Nev Campbell's not in it.
She certainly is not. I am a dedicated Scream fan, so I might have seen it twice at the movie theater. But I was pleasant. There's a 7th one coming out, and I know it's I mean,
I'll watch it eventually. I'm not like anti-watching it.
No, I hear you. I think you might be pleasantly surprised with part 6, but
okay.
You watch it and let me know. I'm very interested to know your thoughts. Okay. All right. If you could cook for a dead celebrity, who would it be?
Julia Childs. Is that stupid? I feel like that's
no, that's really good.
If she was like, I can't do her voice, but if she was like, this is amazing, I would be like, oh my God. So
she would be like that. She would love your food. And also I think that's a great answer because I would have loved to have been in a world where she was exploring vegan food. That would have been so great.
I know.
Barbecue sauce or hot sauce?
Hot sauce.
Favorite flavor ice cream?
I think like chocolate and peanut butter, probably. Sweet and salty, anything. Like a Ben and Jerry's. They got a lot of good sweet and salty things.
They sure do. Yeah,
they have like that vegan Netflix and chill one. That's really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think good choice on that, sweet and salty there. What's the last show you binge watched?
I just watched that show like all the way through pretty quickly. Poker Face with Natasha Lyonne.
Okay, yeah, I haven't watched. Oh, I think I've watched one episode when it first came out. I need to go back to it.
It's pretty good. It reminds me of like Murder, She Wrote, which I love.
Okay, all right. I'm here for that. What recipe did you test last?
I just made some pretzel biscuits, which might sound
Lauren. No, that sounds amazing.
They are like buttermilk flaky layer biscuits, but I made them pretzel-y, and I don't know if that's a thing that is a thing, but I did it, and then I made like a honey butter to go with it, so it was like a sweet and salty thing. But I like brushed them with baking. Speaking of making pretzels, I brushed them instead of like submerging them in baking soda water, which I felt might disintegrate them. I brushed them all around really heavily and then salted them and put them in the oven, and it worked really well. So.
Oh, I get that. Oh, wow. Wow. Will that be up on your blog? Is that going to go up on your blog?
Yeah. It will
all right,
be
everybody. Now you know where to find it, everyone. That's great. If you could pick up a certain skill instantly, what would it be?
Speaking another language, I think that's a skill.
Yes.
I have always wanted. I've tried so hard. I've done like so many different. I feel like they say it's better to do it when you're a child, but I have not. I'm like really bad at like picking up other languages, and I would love to speak other languages, and I cannot. So
yeah, me too. Donuts or cupcakes?
Donuts.
Okay, and favorite vegan restaurant in Vegas?
Vegan restaurant in Vegas.
Or a restaurant that has vegan options.
Right,
just for listeners who are going to visit Vegas.
Oh my gosh, that's hard too. Okay, well, this would probably change with the time, but my boyfriend and I just went to Mott 32 a few weeks ago, and they have vegan soup dumplings.
Oh.
And they were one of the best things I've ever eaten. I like ate it like ever. And it's obviously it's not a vegan restaurant, but they have a lot of vegan options. There's like a whole vegan menu. It's huge. Like the vegan menu. I asked for it. And they just brought me like this whole. I was like, what are the options? They brought me a whole menu.
Love that.
So I got. They have like fake chicken dishes and fake beef dishes, but the vegan soup dumplings are one of the best things I've ever eaten in my entire life.
I love that. I want that. That last time I was in Vegas, I didn't know of that place, so I'm interested to return one day and explore more again. What's the donut shop there? Is it Ronald's Donuts?
So Ronald's Donuts has a bunch of vegan options. Even Pink Box, which is a really big chain that I think is just here and maybe in California. They have a bunch of vegan options,
all right,
which are all really good. they have like so many donuts, and there's probably only like 4 or 5 vegan ones a day, but still that's like a pretty good. I don't need more than 4 or 5 donuts. So
yeah, right, exactly. And the fun thing about Ronald's, if I remember correctly, if my vision and my brain is correct, is that it's very old school. It's like an old school donut shop. You got to roll up, you got to get your donuts before they sell out that day, and they close down at like 2:00 or something. Like
correct. And it's in Chinatown, and it's Asian owned, which I think is interesting. And then they don't really label them, but like the whole top shelf is usually vegan.
Right.
They like don't even tell people unless you like just know. And I think that's pretty cool that they're just like, there's probably plenty of people who are getting those donuts that don't even know they're vegan.
Yeah, that's exactly
like,
right.
Donuts. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Well, now you got some options, everybody, when you're visiting Vegas, and that is your rapid fire. Good job, Lauren. Please tell everyone where they can find you on social media and the internet.
Okay, so my blog is rabbitandwolves.com, and then that's all my handles. Instagram is where I'm probably the most active, I guess, which is @rabbitandwolves. And then same with Facebook, Pinterest, anything else you're on, I'm there, and they're all the same handle. One rabbit, multiple wolves, because people seem to get confused about that. So
one rabbit, multiple wolves. Everyone can find you there, and of course, everyone go pre-order. Get your own copy of Delicious as Fuck Vegan right now. Everywhere books are sold. Pre-orders are very important. So go get your order in so you can have this awesome new book in your hands when it comes out next week on September 26th. I have the date right? September 26th?
September 26th, a week
Very
and a half.
exciting. Lauren, you're the #1 cool writer in my book forever and always.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I thank you for agreeing to come back, and congratulations on this new book and the continued success with Rabbit and Wolves and beyond. Thank you so much. This has been a Muzzy Cat production.